Racism is a public health issue that is experienced worldwide. Canada's Indigenous populations and communities of different racial backgrounds report experiences of discrimination due to race. So, what is racism? Racism is prejudice, oppression, and discrimination directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. Racism can be experienced at work, school, or in our communities on a day-to-day basis, and it can take different forms. Let's look at some of the different ways in which people experience racism. Some people have assumptions or beliefs that may result in bias and prejudice. Some may not know they have these assumptions, but it affects the person's attitude and the way they perceive and interact with people from other races. On the other hand, racism causes disadvantages to Indigenous and racialized groups because of biases embedded into policies and practices. This is referred to as systemic racism. Experiencing racism can impact the physical and mental health of Indigenous and racialized communities. Racism can cause chronic stress, anxiety, depression, and trauma. It prevents access to secure employment, education, and healthcare, leading to poor quality of life. Let's look at an example. This is Kwame. Kwame went to the mall with two friends to buy a video game after school. He noticed a security guard following him and his friends around the store. When leaving the store, he was approached by a security guard who asked to see what was inside his bag. Kwame's friends were not stopped or searched, and neither were other customers who did not look like him. Kwame was confused and felt embarrassed that he was being publicly accused of something while everyone else got to walk out of the store without a question. Days after the incident, Kwame began to isolate himself. He avoided going to malls and shops unless absolutely necessary, and he began to experience nightmares and flashbacks of the incident at the store. Kwame's mother spoke to her son about the changes she has seen and asked what changed. Kwame shared his story. His mother was sad and disappointed to hear about her son's experience. She acknowledged Kwame's feelings and reassured her son that it's okay not to be okay after his experience and that he did nothing wrong. Kwame's mother discussed with him things he can do to feel better and can help protect his mental health. Remember, you are not alone. Take time to process your feelings and talk about it with someone you trust. These incidents happen to racialized and Indigenous people, and it is wrong and unfair. Recognize that you don't have control over stressful events like this, but what you can control is how you respond and manage your feelings through self-care. Practice positive self-talk and think about yourself in a positive way. Think about things that helped you cope in the past. Talking to an ally, playing sports, going for nature walks, eating well, and getting enough sleep. You may be a parent who is wondering how you can talk to your child or teen about racism. One of the things you can do is to start talking to your children about racism early and often. This should be an open and ongoing dialogue. Share your history and your lived experiences coping with similar situations. Provide messages that promote self-esteem and self-acceptance. Surround yourself and your family with allies who can listen and support you during this difficult time. You might be feeling like Kwame. Feeling this way is okay when experiencing traumatic events like racism and discrimination. Having a strong support network and talking openly about these experiences with people you can trust can help you work through feelings of stress, frustration, and anger. If these feelings continue, please note that you are not alone and you should talk to a healthcare professional. Check out the link at the end of this video for local mental health resources. And if you have never experienced or witnessed racism, you can be an ally. Go to havethattalk.ca to check out our video on how to be an ally. You will also find information on mental health and when and where to get help. Check out havethattalk.ca. If racism was constructed, it can be undone. We all have a responsibility to speak up against injustices. Brought to you by Ottawa Public Health.